We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Wednesday, April 8th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Kyun.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in. Also, Moonji's with us.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're right in the middle of the work week, and today we're diving into a fun but surprisingly tough question about looks and lifestyle. And to kick things off, we've got a classic Would You Rather. So it's simple, but it might say a lot about your priorities. So if you had to choose just one for life, perfect glowing skin without ever needing skincare, or a perfectly toned body without ever dieting or needing to work out, which would you pick? So it sounds simple, but once you think about it, the time, the money, and effort we spend on both, it's actually a lot harder than it seems. So Kyun, what would you pick?
That is a very hard question to answer to begin, but I would rather have a perfectly toned, chiseled body because I'm a real foodie and that's something I cannot give up. Maintaining good skin definitely requires a lot of time, effort, and money, but I believe making the ideal type of body and maintaining it is much harder and more painful. And I can say this because I've actually experienced both situations. Now, I still go through an everyday battle to stay in shape by exercising as much as I can, but results show up much slower compared to when I was much younger, meaning I need to eat less while working out even more. So if I can eat and drink everything I want without having to work out, I think I can live a happy life with bad, terrible, I guess, unattractive skin. Yeah.
No, I'm fully with you on this, especially because I've started to try to eat a bit healthier and not being able to eat that cake at that cafe. It's so hard. It's so sad.
That's very sad.
It is.
That's why I don't do that.
So what about you, Moonjo? What would you pick?
Again, this was the hardest question, toughest question I've ever received in my life. But I would prefer a glowing skin because if your skin isn't perfect, you have to apply makeup every morning and then you have to wash it off every night, and let's be honest, what a tedious chore that is, right? So I'm honestly so envious of people who have that glowing skin without even a drop of makeup. Due to my skin concerns, I feel a bit guilty, actually a lot guilty, towards our arirang stylists and my regular makeup artists for extra effort they have to put in for me. But on the other hand, while the downside of perfect body shape is the grueling workouts, exercise is something we eventually have to do to keep our general health. So I think we just have to push ourselves a little harder while we are exercising. So I think I prefer glowing skin.
So I see both sides. So skin really is the one thing you can't turn off. So the maintenance can feel quite endless. And as for fitness, if it's something we have to do for our health anyway, it almost seems like the more practical choice. And that's why we're going to talk more about this. But first, let's take a look at the screen. While appearance has traditionally been seen as a concern for women, that perception is quickly changing. Men are now just as invested in how they look. From skincare to fitness and grooming, it's become both attractive and increasingly common for men to actively work on the best version of themselves. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at what's driving this rise in male grooming, how far is too far when it comes to appearance management, and what to watch out for in this growing trend. Just as we saw in our video, the focus on appearance is no longer limited to women. More men are stepping into the space, making grooming a form of self-care and even self-expression. It's not just about looking good anymore. It's about staying competitive and confident in a highly visual-focused world. So naturally, this trend is raising new questions about just how far is too far. To start off, so why are more men investing in their appearance than ever before, Kim?
I definitely agree with what you just said. It's just become more than just looking good. It's about staying competitive. And taking care of one's appearance as a male has become a form of self-care in today's world. Recently, there's been a growing trend, mostly a male internet subculture called Looksmaxxing, popular on TikTok especially, where young men focus on maximizing their physical attractiveness through extreme dieting, grooming, and sometimes dangerous, unproven practices. This includes investing in skincare, fitness, fashion, to even treatments and plastic surgery. Meanwhile, among teenage boys in the United States, becoming slim, like famous actor Timothy Chalamet, is gaining popularity, fueling a trend of extreme dieting. In fact, in 2023, it was reported 1 in 3 adolescent boys in the US attempted to lose weight. Finally, according to local media reports, a grooming boom is underway in Japan, actually, with a growing number of men aspiring to look like the famous K-pop idols, like, I guess, BTS, Stray Kids, you name it, the list goes on. And the trend is happening all around the world among young men these days.
Right, and seeing those actors and idols, it's clear that appearance is increasingly seen now as a form of social and also professional capital, and changing norms have made it more acceptable for men to care about how they look like. So why is male grooming, Moonju, on the rise in today's society?
Yeah, as you both mentioned, we are living in an era where looks are a form of competitiveness, I think. These days, men are not exceptions anymore on the fact that appearance has become a crucial factor in their lives. For example, during the dating scenes or in the job market even. In the past, men's grooming was often dismissed as unmasculine, but we've seen a major shift in this perception recently. The list of factors behind this transformation is extensive, but primary driver, I think, is the soaring popularity of male celebrities. These stars typically appear with natural but understated look, moving away from anything very overly dramatic. Their appearance has fueled desire for subtle grooming among the general public, proving that less is a lot better than more these days. With the rise of social media also, aggressive marketing for beauty, plastic surgery, and even fitness, the emphasis of physical appearance has never been higher.
And all this, these are all great points. It really shows how appearance has shifted from a personal choice to something that can impact opportunities, while social norms around masculinity are clearly evolving. So let's get more specific and break it down, starting with makeup through a quick OX quiz, where we will find out how far is too far when it comes to male grooming. But before we start, a quick disclaimer: what matters most is doing what you feel comfortable with. These are just our personal opinions, and there's no one right answer. To dive right into it, the first question is it okay for men to wear BB cream, or is that too much? So what are your answers on this? So you say no.
No.
And then, okay, different answers. So what about you?
Even though I have makeup on right now, I think men putting on BB cream on a daily basis still seems a little unnatural, unless it's for a special or a specific occasion. So for example, like men in the entertainment industry, like broadcasting, performing arts, or perhaps attending a very important event like a wedding, putting on BB cream may seem a little more acceptable. But I think men wearing BB cream on a daily basis, especially in Korea, they might be seen as like a little, I guess, awkward. Like people might look at them and think, oh, what does that person do? Why is that person wearing too much makeup like a woman? But I think, so perhaps just wearing sunscreen, putting on sunscreen with like a slight tone up is kind of more acceptable.
It's a better balance.
Better balance. But I think like just keeping it really natural and just putting normal sunscreen is right for men. At least that's what I think.
So no, but okay for certain situations. What about you, Moonju?
I mean, I do completely agree with Kyun, and these days BB creams are so advanced that they don't feel like you have really put those on your skins. But still, trust me, BB creams are lifesavers for someone like me whose skin has so many imperfections. They can cover most, if not all. Also because I often have my makeup done or do it myself for work. It's actually getting hard to look at myself without any makeup. So I think it's perfectly fine for a man to wear BB cream if you really have to for your sake, I think.
Don't be too harsh on yourself. I'm sure you look fine without makeup.
Thank you.
I saw you in the morning without makeup.
Oh yeah, we met today, right?
I'll stop there, okay.
Thank you.
So that contrast is telling. What feels natural to some can still seem excessive to others. So now what about adding a bit of color? So are tinted lip balm or gloss for men okay or not, Kyun and Moonju?
You know what? I actually use a tinted lip gloss myself, as you
It's
can
quite
see.
nice, actually.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anyone comment on my, I guess, bright lips so far, especially from women. And I think it actually makes you look more lively and I guess healthy in some sense. And I know for a fact that some men don't put any lip balm on their lips, and not only does it sting when it gets really dry with chapped lips. It can look very unattractive in professional workplaces, work settings, and even when you go on a date. I don't know, I want to ask you, Sujin, like, do you kind of look at men's lips as well?
I
Would you prefer
yeah.
like kind of like bright, kind of like lively, sort of pinkish lips, or like dry, chapped?
I guess the answer is
Cracking
quite
lips.
obvious. I mean, I don't just look at lips. I guess that's not the first thing I look at.
But it's part of the face, right?
Right, I will notice if someone's lips
Right.
are chapped, you know. Yeah. So,
I can notice that you're looking at my lips.
now I'm like, I'm not looking at it. What about you, Woonju?
I was no, but I think after hearing Sujin, I think I have to change the yes. Anyways, unless I'm on camera, I prefer using clear lip balms or ones that just with a hint of color, because I mainly use them to keep my lips hydrated, and for me, I think that's enough. Anything with bold colors or vibrant shades feels a bit excessive for me, I think.
So even within makeup, there's a clear line for some between subtle and noticeable. So let's push that boundary a little bit further. So what about eyeliner? So is eyeliner for men stylish, or is it too much? Okay,
It's too
it's a hard no, I guess.
It's a big no, big no. It's a big no, unless you aspire to become a K-pop idol or like a punk rock star from the 70s. I remember having to do like a smoky makeup where I had to put on like thick black eyeliners. Now, for a photo shoot back in my modeling days, first it was very uncomfortable, and like removing it took so much effort, and it stung my eyes, and it was just not my thing. And I think I just, I prefer having and looking at pure eyes instead of like eyes that's really defined. And because it's not a natural look, and I like looking at people's eyes when I talk to them, because it's a window to your soul. So
Eyes are a window to your soul.
your eyes are the window.
And eyeliners can prevent that a bit?
Exactly.
Okay, so what about you, Woonju?
It isn't yes for me. I mean, yeah, but I will remember that I will never put on my eyeliners when I
In front of you.
Anyways,
Please.
I think sometimes you need an eyeliner. It covers your flaw. I do sometimes draw an eyeliner if I really need some changes on my image, or like if I'm taking a photo shoot, or if I'm on a broadcast. These days, cameras are so advanced that they can catch your very, very tiny flaws, right? And trust me, these flaws are very exaggerated a lot in the camera. I've experienced a lot. So I believe it, if it makes you feel better, then I think it's okay for you to put an eyeliner.
I mean, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
To do what makes you feel good. So there is definitely a split there, personal taste versus social norms at play. So now moving beyond makeup to semi-permanent procedures. So are eyebrow tattoos for men acceptable, or is that a bit too much?
I think it's a little too much,
Okay.
because I've seen many men who have tattooed their eyebrows, and it looks very obvious and a little funny for the first few weeks. We say 짱구 눈썹, which are eyebrows that look like the Japanese animation character Crayon Shin-chan. And by the way, it's not a compliment. And having darker eyebrows can give you a defined look, but I think men having a natural face is the most attractive face, at least for me.
What about you, Woonju? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, if I had a face as Kiyun has, I think I'll be so confident of myself. But anyways, I do believe it's sometimes necessary to cover imperfections. I think eyebrows play a huge role in a person's first impression, and which is very important, I think. Depending on this shape of your eyebrow, you could look sharp or you could look soft. So if someone wants to change their image, or if they simply don't have too much brow hair, I think it's perfectly acceptable for them to fill it in.
So it is quite interesting how practicality and aesthetics can be viewed so differently. So now let's talk about grooming for hygiene. Is underarm laser hair removal for men okay, or too much?
Oh, it's okay, of course. Oh no! If it's for hygiene purposes, then I think it's great. It's common to see men wax their hair for health reasons and comfort as well, especially during summer. So I'm all for waxing.
Okay, what about you, Woonju?
for hygiene purposes, I think I could kind of can agree with it, but sometimes it is better for you to have what you have than to completely get rid of everything, right? So I think in that sense, I think it's kind of too much for me, but I think again, it's your call, yeah.
I think also because there's a lot of time and effort that goes into also doing that as well. And it also highlights there's also a culture difference in what's considered natural. Now on to accessories, where style gets even more subjective. Is it stylish or too much for men to wear multiple rings, Kyun?
Yeah, it's too much for me. Like for me, for someone in their 30s, I think just a watch, maybe like a couple bracelet, and perhaps like a wedding ring if you're married is just enough because it's symbolic and simple and convenient.
What about you, Woonju?
I mean, I think it's a great compliment for your outfit. So obviously if you're wearing sportswear and you're wearing too much bracelets, that's kind of too much. But if that's not the case, I think it is good for you to wear some accessories.
So clearly less can be more, or more can be more depending on who you ask. And finally, one of the more eye-catching choices, are men wearing dangling earrings a fashion choice, or is it too much, Kyun?
Oh, it's definitely too much. Unless you can actually pull it off. I mean, like an idol, wear it, but I haven't seen many men who can actually pull off those dangling rings, earrings.
What about you, Woonju?
You know, as a person who has regularly wear earrings, I think it's kind of dangling. I mean, by like very like hoops, right? Those kind of earrings. Unless that, I think it's fine. Yeah.
So all of this shows that while male grooming is becoming more accepted, where people draw the line still varies quite widely. And to get a more expert perspective on this, we're going to speak with a male jewelry designer. And that conversation is going to take place right after break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out Channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Kim Jae-won, designer and CEO of a men's jewelry brand. So hello, Jay. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Good to have you. So Jay, what drew you to designing men's jewelry specifically, and how do you personally keep it stylish without going too overboard?
I was drawn to men's jewelry because I felt there was a clear gap between self-expression and refinement. Many men want to express their identity, but at the same time, they don't want to look excessive or overly styled. What interested me was how to resolve that tension. Rather than adding more elements, I focus on refining what already exists: proportion, material, and weight and finish. So even subtle adjustment in these details can be completely change how a piece feels when worn. From a designer's perspective, jewelry should be integrate naturally into a person's daily life. It shouldn't feel separate or forced. That's why I place a strong emphasis on restraint. A single, well-designed piece can create a much stronger appearance than multiple accessories. To me, style is not about standing out too much, but about leaving a strong and lasting impression. Something subtle but memorable over time.
Something subtle but memorable. Oh, that was a good line. How has demand for men's jewelry increased compared to the past?
The demand for men's jewelry has grown significantly in recent years. In the past, it was mostly limited to watches or wedding bands, but today men are more open to rings, necklaces, and even layered styling. This shift has been strongly influenced by global culture, especially K-pop. Artists like BTS have played a major role in refining men's style, making jewelry feel natural and expressive rather than excessive. For me, we also experienced a clear increase in interest after BTS V on the photo. Sorry, I lost. We wore our pieces. It highlighted how powerful culture influence can be in shaping consumers' perception. Today, men see jewelry not just as decoration, but as a way to express identity and lifestyle.
Yeah, I do completely agree. Yeah, I do completely agree with you. That's a form of identity. Our last question for you today is, what would you recommend one thing for men who are just stepping into the jewelry?
I'll recommend starting with one simple and well-crafted piece. A clean ring or minimal necklace is a great place to begin. It's important to focus on quality rather than quantity. And so choose something that naturally fits your personal style and daily wardrobe. Jewelry should be feel effortless. If it feels forced, it often looks excessive. As you become more comfortable, you can gradually explore layering or more expressive styles. For example, pairing watch with a natural stone bracelet like this can add subtle point on interest. Stones like rutilated quartz or cinnabar can bring a unique character without overwhelming the overall look. You can also consider your skin tone while choosing metal. Rose gold, yellow gold, or rhodium finishes can all create different impression. Ultimately, I think it's important to have one signature piece that presents your identity and completes your style, like my necklace. So for the last, jewelry should feel effortless. When it becomes natural, that's when it truly becomes style.
Right, and I think all the pieces that you're wearing, including that necklace you showed us, is a great place to start for many men. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just heard from a jewelry designer about where the line is for men's accessories, how demand has evolved, and what pieces work best for those just starting out. But beyond style and trends, there's also a more serious side to this growing focus on appearance. So what are the risks of our growing focus on appearance?
There's another micro trend stemming from the Looksmaxxing trend called bone smashing, where individuals deliberately tap their facial bones with hammers to create microfractures. Now, they falsely believe as the bones heal, they will rebuild into a more defined or chiseled appearance. But that is not the case. Doctors warn this practice can cause more damage than good, including broken facial bones, severe bruising, and even permanent nerve damage. So people who use social media should be aware of misinformation and that it can cause many serious physical and mental health risks.
These sound like far-reaching consequences. So how does this impact mental health then?
Yeah, obsessing over appearance can fuel anxiety and lead to serious conditions like, body dysmorphic disorder or like eating disorders even. So you have to be careful with this. And lastly, we must be careful of extreme lookism because, especially those are harmful narrative that physical perfection is the only way that you could success socially. These kind of this kind of mindset would damage you in the later. So I think you have to really be careful with this.
So as you've seen today, taking care of your appearance is no longer just about looks. It's become part of how people express themselves and stay competitive. But as these standards continue to rise, it's just as important to draw the line between self-care and self-pressure. So at the end of the day, looking good should never come at the cost of your mental health or confidence. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. With News Gen, we'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Q.
Always a pleasure.
To have you also, Moonju.
Thanks for having me today.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you'll find your own balance between looking good and feeling good. We are News Generation.